Hey YouTube family, welcome to my channel, Living Life with Mama. I'm Mama. In today's video, I am going to go over my debt and how I plan on paying it off. Now, before I go on, I am not a financial advisor. The things that I'm doing in this video is what I think is best for me, not what is best for everybody. So please take your debt and your goals and your financial situation into consideration before you decide to do something that is close to mine. This is my journey and the decisions that I've made for me and my family of what I think is best to get out of debt. Now, this is the second time that I am getting myself out of debt. The first time that I was in debt was back in 2017, I believe, 2017-18. I had lost a really great paying job. I got paid so much that I was given all of these credit cards. Now, I was paid enough to where I was able to pay off all of those cards at the end of the month. And I made a good amount of money that I never had to go and make food. I didn't have to prep. I didn't have to worry about bills. None of that. I finally was able to move out on my own after my daughter was probably about 3 or 4 or so. And I was with that company for about 6 or 8 months. It wasn't with the company long enough to be able to get roots, I guess is what you can say. But I was making enough money to where we went out to eat a lot. And we did it for so long that when I lost my job, actually no, I was with them longer than that. I was with them for a year and like a month because I had just celebrated my 1 year with them. But anyways, we went out to eat so much that when I lost my job, my daughter's first concern was, but mommy, where are we going to get our food? Or how are we going to eat? And that is where my journey of where I'm at now begins. At least that's how I feel. Anyways, so to stay afloat and to try to get another good paying job just as well as that, I went into a lot of credit card debt to pay for bills, to stay afloat, to put food on the table, all of that kind of stuff. And I went into $30,000 worth of debt. So I went into a debt relief program instead of filing bankruptcy. A lot of people say that going into a debt relief program is like putting money in the trash. But I was blessed enough that I actually found a really great one. And I also used it to my advantage. If you aren't very strong-headed about paying off debt, then I could see why this program probably wouldn't work for you because you're paying interest on top of it, I believe. And then also you ruin your credit, but only for a little bit. You don't ruin it for 10 years like you do if you file for bankruptcy. You cannot put on, I believe, medical bills, and I don't think you can do student loans. I'm not 100% for sure on that. But all I had was credit cards. So I was able to put that into my credit card relief program, and I immediately stopped paying payments. What that does is that puts your cards into collections. And then what the company does is that while all of this is happening, you are making payments to that company for however much that you and your agent had approved on. And they will even tell you, like, if you pay this amount of money, which is like the base amount, you will add debt like at this time or whatever the case may be. So your cards go into collections. They call the collection company and say, hey, we are representing so-and-so. Here is the deal. And they try to bargain with the collections on how much to pay. Sometimes you only get like 20% off. Sometimes you get 50. Sometimes you get 75. They try for the most that they possibly can to get off to get you out of debt faster. And then on top of that, as long as you keep up with the payments, and if you are able to pay more than what the payment you're agreed on, you're putting more into that account. So that's what you're doing like throughout this entire program, is that you're putting money into the account. And of course, like, the company takes some of that money, obviously, because how else are they going to get paid, you know? But so When they call the collection agency on this particular card, they agree to it. I sign it, they sign it, whatever the case may be. And whatever I have in my account, they take that and pay that collections off. So then that card's gone. And you keep doing that until all of your debt is paid off. That is what I did last time. This is not what I'm doing this time. It probably would be easier, maybe. I don't know. But my debt isn't big enough to where I feel like the need for this. And I also don't want any of these to go into collections and to ruin my credit again. If I was in $30,000 worth of debt, maybe, but I only have almost $6,000 in debt. And I'm going to be able to get this. Now, this is where I talk about, like, this is not for everybody. So if you guys have been following me for a while, you know that I am going to school. I get it approved for Pell Grants because I'm a single mom, the only income, the amount of income that I have, all of that. Once in a while, I will get approved for extra financial grants. Those grants, whatever's left over after paying for schooling, goes into my pocket. This semester, I was approved for 2 state grants that I do not have to pay back. But in the past, I haven't. And to help kind of sustain my finances during this time, I am pulling out loans. Now, on the flip side, the goal was that I would just take those loans and put it directly into a savings account, and that would build up interest, and that was only for teacher assistant time. Because I've been on this hamster wheel of credit card debt, that did not go as planned, which is fine. Like, it is okay. It's going to be fine. I will get through this. But so I have been pulling out a little bit of debt to be able to pay for finances. This term, I pulled out a little bit of debt to help pay for my debt to get off of this hamster wheel. Yes, I'm using one debt to pay another debt, whatever. The thing is that I'm not going to have to pay this debt until I leave school, which is 2027 or so. My goal and my hope is that I get out of this debt and then I'm able to put money into savings so it's not that big of an issue when I graduate. That is the hope. Will it go as planned? I don't know. So anyways, so before I go over this, there's a couple of reasons why I've decided this. So first, and the number one, is to get off the hamster wheel. What I mean by that is I pay a good amount off on my credit card, pay more than the minimum payment with like my child support, whatever the case may be. But then we need something, or my daughter needs something, or I'm like, oh, look, free money. And I go on my shopping frenzy. So that is the number one thing, to do that. This I feel like is the fastest way to get out of debt, the quickest way to get out of debt without hurting my credit score and without going into collections. Another one is because of my unique situation. I'm in school. I'm able to use this money for now to pay for housing, all of that kind of stuff. Like I shared with you before, I've been in a debt relief program. I loved it, but don't want to get into it again. If you are looking for a debt relief program, please comment down below about it, and I will look for that information and share it with you. I can maybe even call the agent that I have, see if she's still there. She was amazing. There's been times that we would talk on the phone and we would talk about the debt relief and like my payments and everything, but then we would talk about life. And it was amazing. She was extremely personal. She was extremely empathetic. There was so many things that she did amazing on that, like, I would use her again if I was back in the same spot that I was at. But because it's not a whole lot, I feel like this is how I can do this instead. But anyways, the other reason, before I get on to like maybe some questions that you guys are asking, another reason is that I need to get my spending under control. And for that, I need to get rid of this debt. That is why I want to pay off this debt and then close the account except for my Capital One. And then my Capital One is going to be at 1,000 and it will have a lock on it to where the amount cannot be raised. Because that's also what kind of got me into this issue, is that Capital One kept raising the limit. And I don't need that. I can't afford that. I don't need it. Okay, so one of the questions that you guys are probably asking is, what about just getting extra income? Why use more debt to pay off debt? Okay, so one of the things that you would get an extra income is a second job. For me to get a second job to make it worth it is I would have to work nights and weekends. I wouldn't have time to do YouTube. I wouldn't have time to study. I wouldn't have any time with my daughter. I would not have any time for sleep. Like, it just wouldn't work. The other thing would be, what about lowering living costs? Where we live, it's an expensive area, but I was blessed enough to land in a home, in a rental property, that is under $1,000. If I were to go somewhere else in the area, my rent payment or my mortgage would double, possibly even triple than what I pay now. We are in a good sized home for my daughter and I. It has a backyard. I'm able to garden. It's in a good school. It's in a good neighborhood. All of that. Also, moving would cost money. I would need down payment. I would need the first and last month's rent or whatever. I would need moving costs with moving truck, boxes, all that. It'd actually be more expensive to move right now. And then if you look at my bills, it is the least amount of bills. The only thing extra that I could probably get rid of, but I really don't want to, is mine and my daughter's life insurance. I don't want to get rid of that. The older that we get, the more expensive it's going to be. I've already gotten rid of it once, and I've regretted it the moment I did it, but I couldn't afford it at the time. So I've cut everything else out that I could possibly cut to be able to keep those. I don't pay for subscriptions. I don't pay for streaming services. From 2017 or 18, I think, up until when the country shut down, we did not have internet. And I was actually forced to get internet when the country shut down because we were homeschooling. Now, our lives, in a way, depend on it. My job, YouTube, my daughter's schooling, my schooling, all of that. Like, we have to have our internet, or I wouldn't even be having it either. I think my daughter would probably go a little nuts if she wasn't allowed to have internet, but it is what it is. And so we pretty much have my basic bills. I cannot cut away from my bills. My spending is the problem, not my bills. And then another one would be like, why not ask for a raise or extra hours? The job that I am at, you cannot do that. So as a public school employee, they have like a scale pay. I actually am getting paid at the second level instead of the first level because I worked a year with adults with disabilities, and because I am with children with disabilities like Down syndrome, autism, all of that. That gave me a year of experience, so I'm actually getting paid at the second level. There is no pay raise. I tried to negotiate my pay, and they're like, this is not how that works. Like, this is the pay. This is what we offer you. You cannot counteroffer. Like, that's not how it works. Now, when I renew my contract come August, I will get a pay raise, and I'll get a pay raise every year. How much? I'm not 100% for sure, but I don't think it's much. And then extra hours. When school's over, go. Like, I'm only allowed certain contract hours. I even tried a little bit of like, I've got to do a little bit of extra work, so I got to stay for an extra 15 minutes. Yeah, no, we got in trouble for that. So there is none doing that, of like staying a few minutes late or whatever. When 4 o'clock hits, you have to clock out. When 8:10 hits, then you can clock in. Stuff like that. So there is no asking for raises or extra hours. The best option for me to make extra income, but it is in the long run, I have to work really, really hard for it, is YouTube. This is where I hope to make my extra income. But I feel like I would be hurting myself in the long run if I wait to pay off debt once YouTube starts making income. By the way, if you like this video so far, please give me a thumbs up. And to be able to make extra income, I do need you to hit subscribe down below if you're not subscribed, because that really helps my videos getting out there and for more people to see, and to bump up my subscribers, bump up my viewing time, all of that, and then hopefully be able to make more money. And so that is why I do YouTube, and I'm trying really hard to do YouTube. Am I good at it? No, I am not good at this. I am doing it all alone. I don't know how to edit. I am learning as I go. It's kind of fun, but it's very time consuming on top of doing everything else. It's very time consuming. I'm hoping that later down the road, long down the road, I can hire a video editor, but that is like extremely far down the road. Anyways, so YouTube, I feel like it is the best option. I can be at home with my kid. I can do it late at night after she goes to bed. I know that she's eaten. I know she's in bed. I know she's safe, all of that. I can do this on my own time. I can record and then go study, or edit and then go study, or whatever the case may be. I can do this really early in the morning, or really late at night, or do it in the middle of the day, whatever the case may be. So it's very flexible for me to be able to do YouTube, but I'm not making any income right now. So using the loan to pay off debt is what's going to be best for me right now. So I had a subscriber comment and say, hey, can you talk about your debt? I have 5 credit cards right now. I picked 2 colors because I wasn't quite for sure if one's going to work or not, and I figured this would kind of pop on the screen. So the very first one that I have is Capital One. Now, I would not have a Capital One if I didn't know about the high yield savings accounts. You can open savings accounts, and right now, at least for me, it is running at a 3.80% interest rates, meaning however much money I have in each savings account every month, I earn 3.80%, or 3.8, not 80, 3.8% interest on that amount per savings account. So that is why I will be keeping this one. Now, this one is the highest debt. I'm actually over the limit. I have $3,078.27 that I owe on this. The limit is $3,000. So I definitely went over. I've maxed it out. It used to be at $5,000. And last year, half of last year, before we went on vacation, and then the year before that, I'd slowly been making really big payments on it and lowering the amount. And then I made another big payment right before we went on vacation, made $1,000 payment, and had $1,000 limit on my Capital One card. And then I used that $1,000 for on our vacation. So instead of carrying cash around with me, when we went out to eat, when we bought stuff, whatever, I just swiped the card, and the savings was in my Capital One savings account, and then I transferred over money. The thing is I spent more than what I thought. So every time I paid it off, that lowered it back down to $1,000. So I think I actually probably spent, not counting hotel, not counting any of the tickets that I paid beforehand, I probably spent maybe $2,000 on just stuff, food, things that we went and did, things that we bought, stuff like that, and we just had fun. And then every month I'll make a good payment, and then I would use it for something. So this is that hamster wheel. It's literally stayed above at around 3,000 since we got back from vacation. So the goal is to pay this completely off, and instead of canceling the card, I'm going to lower it to 1,000 because I think I can handle 1,000 credit card limit. Now, my goal is to keep the card open. I would use it for things that I know for a fact that I'm going to have cash for. So gas, When I pull $50, I pull the $50 in cash, or I have a savings account that says gas in Capital One, but then I use the card and then pay it off. The other thing is groceries. I have $120 in groceries. I use that for Capital One. The thing that I think that is going to be hard for me is like when I have cash in my hand, the goal is to not spend anything above that. But if I have $1,000 limit on Capital One and I'm at 200 instead of 120, I'm not going to think twice swiping that card. So that is where that's going to get me in trouble. So I need to like do a mindset. I need to do a balance of the such or something. I don't know. So that is where we are with Capital One. Now my next card is Target. Now, I regret opening this card. This was my decision. I opened it so that I would get the benefits of having the card. But I've slowly learned that I don't really pay for the benefits. Like, I get a little bit of like a 5% discount or something. I think the coupons I will have no matter if I have the card or not. Like, if you spend $20, you get $5 or whatever. I think I get that no matter if I have a Target card or not. They do have a Target credit card and then a Target membership. I think I will sign myself up for the membership, like points or whatever, and not do the Target card. Now, this limit is at 300. This is one that was, I think, at 1,000 or maybe 500 or something like that. And I paid it off and lowered it to 300. But it still continues to kind of hang out around the 300. Right now, I owe $270.76 or $276.40. I can literally pay that off right now with child support. So this is why, like, I think lowering the Capital One to 1,000 would be good for me. Now, I plan on paying this off and closing it. Okay, my next card, which is very interesting how I ended up with this card, because this was not a card that I had planned on. So I'm walking into Sam's Club, and I have a Sam's Club membership, but I wanted to renew the Sam's Club membership. Now, one of the things that you should know is that if you have a Sam's Club credit card, you can renew by charging that to your credit card. Okay, at this point, I did not have a credit card. Okay, I only had the membership, and I walked in and I'm like, hi, customer service, I would like to renew my membership. Well, she asked me for some personal information, and I didn't think about it. And I'm like, well, that's kind of weird that you have to have that information to renew a membership, but whatever. No, she signed me up for a credit card, and I never once said that I wanted a credit card. So here we are, having a credit card. This credit card limit was at $1,500, and I paid it off and got it down to $1,000. Now I keep going back and forth, if I should just lower it down to $500 and leave it at that, because I don't think I need more than that. Because right now it's at $1,000. It was at $1,500, and I lowered it down to $1,000, and I keep going back and forth of keeping it because it does have benefits. You get cash back, all of that. I don't know if some of their discounts are like with a club credit card, you get this. I don't know if they have that. I think like you get the discount no matter what type of thing. But, so lowering it to 500 and just keeping it and just using that and having like a Sam's Club savings cash envelope. But also at the same time, I have enough cash envelopes. I don't need to add another one. But then I'm like, but what about if I need bulk items and then now I don't have, whatever. So I do have a bulk item cash envelope. But that is like one of the cash envelopes that does not get stuffed very much. So I don't know. I have gone back and forth on this. But right now, my amount that I owe is $1,009.47. So I'm over the limit on this one too. And then I have Kohl's. I liked having the Kohl's credit card. It definitely got us through Christmas. But we're kind of like on this hamster wheel also of Kohl's Cash. I've bought a good amount of things with Kohl's Cash. Like my daughter's new comforter, paid that in Kohl's Cash. It was originally $109. Got it for like $40. Stuff like that. And so it definitely comes in handy of having all those. I don't know if Kohl's Cash comes with the credit card. I could be wrong on that, but at the same time, it's put me in a very tight situation. I also had to lower the amount on this one. I think I got up to 800. I was like, no. Lower it down to 300, please. And this one is also over the limit. It's maxed out. Okay, I owe $320. Oh, my writing's getting smaller. That's so funny. I owe $320.14 on that one. And then my last one is care credit. I would not have this one if my cat, Rainbow, didn't end up in the vet emergency room, but it is what it is. Now, this one, I'm going to pay off this one, this one, this one, and this one. These are all going to get paid off with the loan amount that I am getting. The care credit is not going to be touched. The only reason why I'm not going to touch this one's actually the second highest one. It is at $1,044.99. The reason why this one is not getting touched is because I am with a 6 months no interest. Now there are 3 charges to the card. One of them is like $100 and it's getting interest on it, but it's very, very, very little. And then the other 2, the 6 months in, one of them ends in February and the other one ends in March. What I'm hoping is that I use the money that I'm getting from school to pay all of these off. And then when I get child support in February, I make a pretty good payment on this. And then pay another payment in March. So if I were to do a full $600, I can pay all of this off in 2 months. Okay? But that means that I can't do savings challenges game. So what I'm thinking, there's 2 different ways I can go. I can make 2 payments of $600. Technically one of $600 and the other one of like $544 or whatever. And I would have it paid off by March. Okay? No interest. And this is no interest. I have three. I have one that has interest. I have one no interest until March, or until February, sorry. And no interest until March. Okay, so it's definitely coming up. So if I were to go this route, I would have it paid off by March, meaning very, very little amount of interest. Okay, but that means no games, no savings, nothing else other than that. Now, that would just be for 2 months. And we're done with this. And all debt-free, paid off by March. If I were to go the other route, which is 4 payments of $300, we would have it paid off by May. And we would have games and saving challenges. So, no extra videos. Now, my thing is, like, these are paid off. Grants and loan. Okay? So, this is like $100. Interest of $100. It's not very much. So, that is the choice I'm trying to decide. Also, am I going to be able to do the full 600? I believe so. I would like to be able to get paid off as quickly as possible, but then that means making sacrifice of not having any games for 2 months. But then after March, I'm going to have a full $600. The thing is I want to get out of debt as fast as possible. So even though I would like to be able to do videos, that is just 4 videos that I wouldn't be able to do for 2 months. I think, see, that's the other thing, that it's like checking off one of getting paid off, or one goal of getting debt paid off, or by the end of the year having an extra one paid off by having 200 new videos. Because if I don't do games for 2 months, that's 8 videos total. That means I'm going to have to come up with 8 more videos somewhere else, whatever the case may be. So what do you think? If you were in my shoes, let's say you were in my situation, you were sitting here like, should I go this direction or should I go that direction? Which one should I go? So I think I'm going to kind of sleep on it. I know for a fact that once that money hits my account, I'm going to automatically pay those. Like, they're like, oh, sweet, I got it. Boom, 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 paid off. And then as soon as all of that goes through, I'm going to call this company, this company, this company, and shut them off. And then I'm going to call Capital One and lower it down to 1,000. So by the end of January, all of that's going to be taken care of. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to sleep on this, see which ones I want to do, because doing YouTube is important to me too, but getting debt paid off is important also. Now, which one's more important? That's the key. I think paying off debt. I think that's what I'm going to do. I may change my mind. I just said I'm going to sleep on it, but I think this is what I'm going to do. So for the month of February and March, if I stick to this plan, there will be no games. Now, so that is where we're at with debt. This is the debt I'm having. Again, if you want to know about the debt relief program, please comment down below. I can look up that information. And if you have any comments or any ideas of, is this the way I should go, or is this the way I should go, whatever. If I were to go this way, I will be getting interest. So I will end up having to pay more than the $1,044. Now, actually, this is less because I just made a payment. So, and it hasn't gone through yet. So it's actually less, but it is what it is. So yeah, so that is my video about my debt and how I will be getting it paid off for this year of 2025. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up down below and make sure that you have subscribed so that when I post again, you will be notified of my new video. Completely free for you, and it helps me in this channel. So yeah, so I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. Bye.